Buzz's retirement garage. A whole bunch of hobbies we could be doing. I got at least 68 of them. I mean, I could have had 168, but I figured to keep the video fairly short, I'll stop at 68. Plus, that's one of my favorite numbers in the world, 68. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I was out doing some staining today. Some white stain on a basically you could call it, I'm making my own picket fence to put around my air conditioner. So I was working on that today. It's a stain and poly, so it's not the kind that just washes right off. It's not a latex, so more of an oil base, so it's not going to come off real easy. Matter of fact, I think I got some on my head too. You can see some white spots. Anyway, so I was sitting there this morning, I'm painting, and I'm sitting there at my little table over here watching the birds this morning. And I gotta tell you something, in retirement, and if you're not there yet, and I know some of you who are watching my videos are not there yet, but let me tell you something, and this is all my personal experience, okay? This may not be your experience, but it's mine. Sitting there, just contemplating life, right? I'm watching the clouds coming across. It's a beautiful day. It's, about 82, 84 degrees now. And the wind, it's a nice breeze coming, and I'm just sitting there just thinking, wow. I mean, it almost brought a tear to my eye. Seriously, because here I am. Day after day, I get the opportunity to enjoy life like I never have before. And if you're not retired yet, you're going to get there. And if you are retired, I think you know what I'm talking about. And I mean, if you're healthy and you can move around and you're not worried about too many things, your financial picture is okay, not great, but maybe it's okay. Family's good, geez, does that bring a smile to your face or what? Anyway, for those of you who are bored during retirement, which, as you've watched some of my videos before, I'm doing my gardening, I'm doing, painting, of course, today. I actually did some welding today. Got a lot of wind. I got this microphone, too, and I put one of those socks on it, whatever you call it, those big furry things that if you saw it in the middle of the night, it would probably scare the pants off of you. But I'm going to see if this is going to work. If not, we'll go to plan B or C or D. So remember, right now I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like this retirement life is so super good. Now remember, look at this, look at this. You see this? Now, wife and kids got that for me because during my work career, I don't understand it, but for some reason they thought I was grumpy. And now I think they're going to let me burn this shirt, but I'm going to use it as a paint shirt for now, so it works out good. But anyway, I was doing some looking up some hobbies, and some of them I got from the baby boomers on Facebook. The Facebook page Baby Boomers 1946 to 1964, which I've referenced before. It's just sometimes they'll come up with topics. Sometimes it's all generic stuff. You've seen it 100 times, but if you're on Facebook, you know what I mean. It's just there's memes that are just so old now. It's just getting boring. But once in a while, they'll come up with some pretty cool things. And so I grabbed some of the hobbies off of that site that people had, and there are a couple of them I didn't even think about. Hobbies are pretty easy to think about, but on this site, there was a few that I jotted down that I never thought about. So, in retirement, if you're bored, think about some of these hobbies. How about 3D printing? That's a kind of a big thing now. People are making all kinds of things with 3D printers. The investment, yeah, there's a decent investment. I know Costco was selling them for like $350 or $400 at one point. I haven't looked at it lately. I mean, that's like a starter kit, but 3D printing, something different. Amateur radio. There's some people that subscribe to me who are big into amateur radio. I know my grandfather, on my father's side, he was big into it as well in Erie, Pennsylvania. He really, really enjoyed it. Archery, babysitting. I mean, that could be a hobby. It could also be a moneymaker, but if you like doing that kind of thing, that could be a hobby. Backpacking, ballroom dancing. My wife wants me to go do that. She's been asking for probably 20 years. So far, I've gotten out of it. So, how about beekeeping? Once again, Sam's Club had for $100, they had a starter beekeeping kit where they would give you the hood and, you know, the face thing, and I think it's something that went over your shoulders. It might have been the whole outfit, and they gave you some a starter kit on that. And I called home. I saw it, and I called home, and I said, Mrs. Buzz, can I get this beekeeping kit? She said no. So it still sits at Sam's Club. Bible reading, that's a big one. Bicycling, of course. Bingo. I haven't been to bingo in, oh man, a lot of years. But I know a lot of people go. Blacksmithing. How about blacksmithing? And I do have these in alphabetical order, believe it or not. I put it on the computer. Boating. Of course, that's a expensive hobby, but boating is, especially here about the Great Lakes here, Lake Erie. A lot of people love having their boats out there. How about bonsai plants? I mean, that's kind of a whole big deal. It's a nice little hobby. There's people that, you know, get into the Japanese bonsai plants, and they really get serious about it. Bowling, of course, you can't forget the age-old hobby or exercise of bowling. Bridge. I never played bridge, the card game. My in-laws did all the time. I never got into it. Canning, that's something with my 40-some tomato plants that I'm gonna have to look into. I know there was a guy that's up in Indiana. He told me he does hot canning. So I had to look that up to figure out what's hot canning, what's cold canning. I don't know, but I'm learning. Cooking, of course, that's a nice hobby. I follow a person who does quite a few little cooking shows. She lives alone, and she cooks for herself, and so I kind of keep an eye on it because I like cooking. My daughter actually went to chef school in North Carolina, Johnson and Wales. So of course she's a firefighter now, so of course she's popular because she's a certified chef, so that's cool. Cruise ships. There's people that's a hobby for them, and nowadays they say it's a good deal. Yeah, you still could get some issues. You see once in a while you see the crazy stuff that goes on a cruise ship, but between airfare or hotel rentals or hotels and even Airbnbs, things are getting so expensive that the cruise ships now are becoming better and better deals. Disc golf. A lot of people are playing disc golf. If you have someplace around you, that's pretty good exercise. Get out there, throw that frisbee around, if you're allowed to call it that. Drumming. I put that as a separate because I think drumming is a separate type of instrument in my opinion, so I made that separate. E-biking. You know, everybody's big into e-biking. Boy, is it getting windy now. Holy smokes. I hope this video is going to come out okay. Just lost another one of my papers. It's about 40 yards away now. I'm not going to chase it right now. E-biking, yeah, a lot of people into that. I think it's going to become bigger and bigger as time goes on. Fencing. It's an old sport, but yeah, the old fencing, you know. Not like I'm building a fence, but the actual fencing. How about fishing, of course, and fly fishing? I put those as two separate categories because fishing and fly fishing to me are different. Fly fishing is a more, it's a different type of sport in my opinion. A little more skill level, but again, that's just my opinion, than throwing out a lure for some bass or something, you know. Gardening, that's my big favorite for this year. Getting a lot of stuff growing. Genealogy. I actually went through, what was it? It's not, I'm associated to one of them. It'll come to me quickly, but here, let me see. Nope, it's not coming to me. But I am hooked up with one of them, and have seen some cousins. I actually talked to a couple people who were looking at the family tree. So Yeah, it's got some weird stuff. You know, do you really want people to have your DNA? But I tried it at my age. I don't really care, but it's fun. Geocache, if I say that right, geocache. That was pretty big, where people were going around and looking for items. Golf, regular golf, nice 9 holes or 18 holes. I haven't played in a long time. I actually won a lot of trophies when I was at work for the D League. I think there was 2 of us in the D League, and I always beat the other guy, so that was good. Um, Hang gliding, I don't know if I would try that, but you know, off the coast, I think they do that a lot, California. I think I'd try it once maybe, but not in Ohio. I'm not going to do it. Hiking, hunting, instruments in general. So we had the drums, now we got instruments in general, anywhere from piano to banjo to violin, all the different oboes. My cousin used to do oboe, all the different instruments. How about jewelry making? I know when I was growing up, one of my friends down the street, her mom was made some jewelry, and I thought that was kind of cool. You know, I'm a guy, but I just enjoyed watching her make some different things, and I always thought I might go into jewelry making, but I'm just not an artist. That's the problem. I'm just not any kind of artist at all. Jigsaw puzzles, kayaking, and canoeing. And then George, I don't have this on the list, but it is part of the 68. George had emailed me how he was doing knife making. And he's got some beautiful knives that he makes. So he makes the sheath by hand, stitches it by hand. I mean, these are just works of art. They're just beautiful. He buys some stock blades, but he puts the handles together, and man, they just look so nice. I mean, so professional. So knife making, that might be something I get into. Knitting. We've talked about kayaking or canoeing, right? Martial arts. That's something that a lot of people are into and getting their kids involved in. Metal detecting, of course. Model airplanes. So I remember when I was young doing the model airplanes, right? Making the boats and the airplanes and the Estes rockets. Remember those? We'd buy those C or D engines, and then you put that on that wire. Remember that, on a tripod? And then you would send that up. My buddy had one that had a camera in the top, so when it came down on the chute, it would take pictures. I mean, we're talking in the early 70s. So, and having a camera in something in the early 70s, that's something else. Motorcycling, needlepoint, working on old cars, paint by numbers. That would be something I could do, I think. Photography, pickleball, poker, and we talked puzzles, but like Sudoku and different things. That's a hobby that, you know, or you guys are doing crossword puzzles and stuff like that. I never got into that because they always stumped me. I'm just not smart enough for those things, but those are out there too. Quilting. How about radio controlled planes? You remember seeing the, even now, these people have these huge, they look like F-16s, or they could be helicopters, or, you know, they put a ton of money in them. They could be from small to just super large. That's a cool hobby. Expensive hobby. Could be an expensive hobby, but kind of cool. Reading, of course. Rock hunting. I know when I go down to the river, sometimes I'll pick up a rock, and I know they say it's illegal to do, but I pick up a small rock if it really interests me. And we have a little fountain. Of course, it's not working. It's leaking, but I got to work on that. I want to put that, we put those rocks around that fountain. So every time I go down there, I just pick up a small, you know, just a small thing. Hopefully I won't get arrested for it. Scrapbooking. People still do scrapbooking. Senior softball. Sewing. Shooting. Going to the target range, or, you know, we have one close by here that I want to get into. My daughter and I are going to go. Stained glass, that's an interesting one, because you don't see many people making stained glass type art anymore, or at least I don't. But we have a little small stained glass window that we had some people do local to us. It's a couple ducks. I'll have to show you that one time when we put our addition on back in '97. and it's just beautiful. I mean, stained glass, just beautiful. Surfing, swimming, of course, trains. So model trains, I would assume, right? So trains, a lot of the people have in their basements or their garage. They still use the small trains that you see on the little tracks, and they got them all set up in the little towns, and I think that's pretty cool. Traveling, that's a hobby, traveling. And then you have volunteering. That's a cool hobby, really helping people out. Weightlifting, woodworking, and writing. So there's the list of, I believe it was 68. You can double check me. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. So in retirement, there is a lot to do. Pick one of those. Pick a few of those. Some of these are very inexpensive hobbies. Some of these, of course, are you can spend quite a few $1,000s on, but a lot of these that we just spoke about are very, very inexpensive. Just get into it, start a routine. They say it takes, it takes 3 weeks to get into a routine to where you're constantly doing it. You need to be doing it for 3 weeks in a row, daily for 3 weeks, and then it becomes a habit. Something like that. But anyway, try doing that, and make sure, since it's summertime, drink your water. I say this all the time. As we age, we just need to make sure we're always hydrated. You should anytime, but as we age, I think it's important that you hydrate. So this is my public service announcement for today. Hydrate, please. Anyway, if you thought of those, if you like those hobbies, or you can think of a few more, I'll add it to the list. We can do another video a few months from now, and we'll talk about hobbies again. Until then, and until the next contest time, which it won't be today, have a good day. Buzz's Retirement Garage. See you now.